20 strong chess players from 9 federations compete in St. Louis. USChessChamps.com presents the 3rd annual Winter Chess Classic.
Hello and welcome back to our final coverage of the 2019 Winter Chess Classic. It is day 9 here in St. Louis. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Caleb Denby. I'm joined by the wonderful Sabina Foiger, and we will be giving you all of the coverage of this final round here today in St. Louis.
Really exciting chess has happened here this past week.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a race to the finish. It's still very tight near the top. Anyone, well, not anyone, but any number of players could actually walk home with the title. I think there are no fewer than 3 eligible in the A group still, and I think 3 in the B group as well also have good chances to force a playoff or go home with it in sole first.
Yeah, so we are definitely going to be more focused on those games specifically to keep our viewers, up to date with what's happening. And in case we're going to have a playoff, we'll make sure to stay online for that and
absolutely
discuss the games.
We'll be here for it until all is decided. Why don't we actually check out where we stand? First, in the A group, we have Rinat Jumabayev and Jeffrey Zhang, both on 5 points out of 8. Rinat was, of course, a half point ahead yesterday, but actually lost his game to Hovhannes Kabuzian.
Yeah, that was kind of an unexpected turn of events in the A group, and now Jeffrey Zhang.
Rinat having a fantastic tournament, but I guess he was finally due for a bad game because he had 7 great games before this round 8.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it happens sometimes. You may run out of energy or out of luck, or you just simply have a bad day, and the things can turn around. But both him and Jeffrey are battling it out today in some very interesting matches that we'll take a look at, and we'll see.
And we actually saw Jeffrey earlier. He actually lost to Rinat Jumabayev, I believe in round 6. And then Jeffrey, of course, he lost that game, and then he came back the next day and scored a full point. Really got it done. So we'll see if Rinat can kind of respond in kind with a win here today to bring it home.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, as we said, also on 5 points. Sam Sevian and Sethu are both on 4.5, so both definitely within striking distance. Although I believe Sam has already drawn his game today, so it's unlikely that he'll be in the playoff unless both Rinat and Jeffrey lose, which is unlikely. Sethu, though, with a win today, would move to 5.5 and would have very decent chances to actually make a playoff.
Yeah, in case those 2 players will draw their games, Jeffrey and Rinat, so that remains to be seen.
So yeah, these 4 players, the ones to look out for in the A group. And why don't we actually go ahead and move to the B group and see where we stand there. Emilio Cordova is a half point ahead of Federico Perez Ponsa. And I believe actually Sergey Azarov is also actually in 5.5, not 4.5.
Yes, we might have some small...
Yes, small mistake there. But the ones to look out for in the B group are Emilio Cordova and Sergey Azarov. And then Federico Ponsa, definitely within a half point. And actually, he's playing Emilio today. So if Federico manages to win his game, he will be kind of leapfrogging Emilio. And then, depending on Azarov's game, Federico very well might be in that playoff.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing their games and a playoff too. I mean, I know we might not really want a playoff, but I think it's great for spectators.
More work for us, but it's also very exciting.
Yeah,
to see these players, even in this last round, they have everything at stake. And then in the playoff, the pressure really starts to build. And
for sure.
Very exciting and interesting to see how these players handle it. Why don't we actually check out the format for the tournament as well? There are 2 10-player round robins. Of course, that's the A group and the B group that we were just looking at. The time control for both groups is 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, then 30 minutes is added on for the remainder of the game. There's also a 30-second increment throughout, starting on move 1, added on every time you move. There are, of course, no draw offers allowed before Black's 30th move. This is the draw rule in effect here. And so the only way that a game can be drawn is by stalemate somehow, or by a 3-move repetition until move 30, when the players are allowed to agree to a draw. And in the event that we do have a playoff, why don't we see what the regulations for that are? There will first be a 2-game rapid match. That is game in 10, delay 2. So very, very fast for rapid, but still within the rapid time controls. Then, if they tie that match, the entire tournament will be decided by an Armageddon game. The Armageddon game, of course, White gets 5 minutes with a 2-second increment. Black only gets 4 minutes with that 2-second increment, but has draw odds.
Yes.
This is how we ensure that a result is determined.
That's true. And this would be, by the way, just in case we have just 2 players tying for the top. In case we have more players, we'll have to
then
go
it gets
over.
slightly more complicated.
Yeah, but let's just keep that for now,
yeah,
and
you
we'll
start
see.
doing things like rapid round robins, but it's not super likely to happen. So, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, if we come to it, we'll discuss the terms, but for now, I think that's good to let.
We'll settle for just the match and the Armageddon.
Yeah, and it's nice to have both, I think, because if you would just do an Armageddon, it might not be completely fair. But then, even this way,
you at least have a chance to play a couple of rapid games to prove that you're the better player before going straight to Armageddon, when anything could happen.
Yeah.
Well, as always, we'd like to thank you guys for joining us here on social media. I see a lot of you in the YouTube chat. It's Caillou, Shot Composer is the familiar name, Chris Gates, Giovanni. Thank you all for joining us there. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat, trying to answer any questions you might have. And in addition to that, if you want to get involved on Twitter, you can use the hashtag #WinterChessClassic. And if you want to follow the games for yourself, as always, you can do so on uschesschamps.com. Follow the games live, pick out your favorite players, see what the engine has to say as well, and keep watching. Even if our show ends, you can still see those games on US Chess Champs.
That's true, but I think today our show will not really end until
we'll be here for a while.
We'll stay here for some time.
Well, before we get into the pairings, Shot Composer has an interesting question. Will Sorokin become a Grandmaster today? Will he skip the IM title like Kramnik and go straight to Grandmaster? And we forgot to mention this looking at the standings as well. But yeah, Alexei Sorokin also has a lot on the line, even if he is no longer kind of in contention for first place.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins his game today, he is going to complete his 3rd GM norm, and he will get his title. His rating has been there for quite some time now, I believe. So it would be certainly something.
So we
nice
can see
to see
a new Grandmaster here in St.
at the
Louis.
club. Yeah.
But yeah, why don't we actually take a look at those pairings in the A group? We have Alexei Serrano playing Sethu, and that game is actually also one of the important ones. Of course, Sethu, the only other player still in the running besides those 2 leaders, really.
And what an event he had here. He started with 3 losses and then won 3 games, drew, and then won again.
It would be an incredible story to see him win here today.
For sure.
And end up somehow in a playoff and win a tournament after losing 3 in a row to start. That's like unheard of, I think. But not the most likely, unfortunately, because, of course, Jeffrey and are not very strong players. One of them might be able to pull out a win today. Varakobian has already drawn his game with Sam Sevian. So Sam, going in on 4.5 out of 8 today, moves to 5 out of 9. Currently tied with the leaders, but it's unlikely that they won't score any points.
Yeah.
So Victor Erdos has Hovhannes Gabuzian. And then our 2 really key matchups of the day are Rinat Jumabayev versus Daniel Naroditsky and Grigory Oparin versus Jeffrey Zhang. Of course, both Jeffrey and Rinat leading the tournament, looking to get a full point to end it all here. And why don't we actually see what's going on in Rinat Jumabayev's game? All
right, so this is the current position that we have right now in Rinat Jumabayev against Daniel Naroditsky. White still seems to have a great position. A few moments ago when we were taking a look at this game before getting live, White had an extra pawn, but now, what happened?
Black is up a piece.
Yeah.
I've received the insider word of what's going on in the tournament hall. Mike Kummer, of course, our fantastic arbiter up there, says that Renat is actually looked very disturbed. He started talking to himself. He was quite upset with what just happened. So perhaps there's just been a massive blunder in this game.
Yeah, I'm really shocked. I saw an extra pawn for white, and okay, pretty good equal position around here. Well, not equal, but like pretty balanced. And white.
So there's this kind of testy. Balance of the white pieces here, where white put this queen on h3, indirectly defending this bishop on e3, but
yeah, by pinning the knight, but
it felt slightly artificial, and it's just too loose.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit too much. I thought he kind of made a lot of queen moves after winning the pawn. Of course, it's not so easy to play here on the queen side, but eventually you do need to make sure you're not going to allow some b4, and so in this position. Oh wow, I see what happened. So black played rook to c7 in this position,
pretending defending the queen.
Yeah, most likely pretending that they wanted to double on the c file, but in the same time defending the queen. So now black has this threat, very important, capturing the bishop, and I think Renat just blundered here. This was the moment. He played knight to f2.
Oh my goodness.
Which simply gives the bishop in e3. And, okay, white gets to trade the queens and now gets this pawn in b5, so now white is with 2 pawns for the piece, but that's not, should not be sufficient to actually...
This is very, very strange.
Ooh,
you don't see this happen in a tournament like this very often at all.
So we might actually see a loss here by Renat, and that will show that maybe he's not as good as coming back after a tough loss, coming back into the tournament.
I mean, that's definitely a key attribute of a lot of these top players.
A lot of pressure on him, of course, trying to win the tournament. He had such a great tournament. Probably one, him and Jeffrey have played like the best chess, maybe in the A group. If we were to think about,
I think so.
Respecting principles, playing, correctly positionally, not blundering, and now this is
this is a blunder. This is the blunder you see, like class players make. But black made a one-move threat and white didn't see it. It's very, very strange.
Actually, this has happened to me once, and it was very painful. I was having 5 out of 5 in the Chess Olympiad in 2014. And the team trusted me, put me to play against France.
Yeah.
I had this knight hanging at some point, and then my opponent, I let it hanging there because I knew my opponent couldn't capture it. There was, again, this kind of a pin, and then she had a move, knight d7, protecting the rook in b8, and attacking a bishop of mine. And then, I had a knight in c3. There was no way I could protect the 2 pieces, a bishop in c5, a knight in c3, and then it was
that's even a step further removed from this tactic, right? This was just
the
bishop was
direct.
attacked.
Yeah.
The rook c7 made a threat, and white just did not see it.
What a tough moment probably for him.
Yeah. So if you're Jeffrey Zhang, you might be looking over at this game and thinking, maybe I should stop trying so hard. So this game, I think white does have 2 pawns for it, but those pawns on a2 and b2 aren't going to be horribly useful at the moment, at least. So expecting a win for Daniel, right?
I think so. I think it's going to be very hard, but of course, I don't think he's going to give up.
Definitely not.
We don't have a camera from front to see his facial expressions, but we can clearly see him bouncing his head. Cannot believe what kind of blunder he has made, probably.
Definitely, this is one that he'll remember, unfortunately.
It's very tough, yeah.
Okay, so assuming that Daniel manages to win this game, all Jeffrey needs is a draw to pull into the lead. So why don't we actually take a look at this game here? Here we see the players, Grigori Operin with the white pieces, trying to take down the young Jeffrey Zhang.
Yeah, and if we take a look at this position, okay, we see an endgame with opposite color bishops, but we shouldn't stop there. A lot of the times there's this myth that opposite color bishop endgames should be a draw, and I don't really agree with it. It's really a myth. I mean, we'll see, of course.
There's some basis in truth, right? But
there are some, yeah. But this position, I think White kind of let go a little bit of their advantage. I think some moves back, White had a slightly better position, and although the rook in c4 seems to be slightly better placed currently compared to the rook in d8, say, I don't think White has that many chances to.
Right. So you might be thinking, why doesn't Black take the pawn on b2? And I think the reason is simply either rook. I think rook b4 is better than
rook b4, yeah.
Otherwise, you run into back rank stuff.
You have to be very careful of the background.
So, the line might continue bishop c3, takes on b7, takes on a5, but after bishop c6, you're actually ending up losing more pawns.
I'm not even sure. Bishop takes c6 or takes in a7 first. Might be about the same, maybe.
Yeah, I think either way you get all three of the pawns. I might be wrong, but
yeah, this pawn should be falling very soon. But Black is not forced to go into that line, I believe.
Right, but that's one reason why Jeffrey isn't capturing b2 immediately.
Yes, for sure.
So if you're Black here, what do you do if you wanna draw this game? Because I think Jeffrey wants to draw here.
I mean, maybe f6. I'm thinking if I'm not blundering anything tactically. Just trying to break White's chain of pawns. Simply, just trade, open the rooks, because rooks are perfectly placed right now for Black on the central file. So if you get to play f6 and trade, I believe you have no problems here. White is going to struggle getting their rooks more active, and yeah, I mean the position is maybe, tiny bit better maybe for Black, but very tiny. I mean, if you put the computer, maybe it will give you like 0.2 or something. I don't know.
Let's see.
You want to check?
0.01.
Oh wow, I was really close.
0.01
right.
edge for the Black pieces.
All right, so it's really close to equal. I mean, but of course, with White, you have to be a little bit careful not to.
It's all about the activity, and the rook on c4 is slightly active right now, with potential to come to b4. But if the Black rooks manage to land on the second rank, for example, then of course Jeffrey is the only one who can win the game.
Yeah, and he should feel comfortable now knowing that Rinat is not doing so well in his game. If he has seen it, I mean, we don't know if he has seen it or not, but if he has seen it, and for sure he could be a little bit relaxed in this case. But of course, we should not forget about Setu, right?
So with this turn of events in the Rinat Jumabayev game, and with Jeffrey's game looking to be a draw, that leaves the door open for Setu to make his way into a playoff. So if Setu can win his game, he will be joining Jeffrey in the playoff, assuming these expected results stay expected and then become actual results.
Let's pull that game out just for a second for...
wow.
Of course.
Look at the time difference. 1 hour and 20 minutes versus 3.
That's true, but they White just reached move 40, and I believe the 30 minutes have been added.
All right,
so
I was worried.
that would have been a little bit too much for sure, but still, it's a pretty big gap.
It is a lot.
Even when you're going to get your 30 moves, and
unfortunately for Setu, he seems to be down a pawn here, and he also seems to have some king issues. G takes h6 was just played.
Was just played in this position, yeah. And
knight h6 played very quickly by White.
And okay, White is going to press a little bit more in this game. Black has the pair of bishops, but I do not really see a way to mate with that. I mean, if you could create some mating attacks, would be great.
Yeah,
but I don't really see
a pawn is a pawn.
Yeah, it's a pawn, and White will slowly start pushing. I believe Sarana is going to press in this game, so we might...
things looking quite nice for Jeffrey then in
at the moment, for sure.
Well, while these games kind of shake themselves out a little bit more, while things become a little bit more clear, we should actually probably take a look at the pairings in the B group. And we have Tigran Harutyunian against Melik Khachiyan, Alexei Sorokin against Justin Wang. And remember, this Alexei Sorokin game, while not the most relevant to the B group standings, is very relevant to Alexei Sorokin's chess career. If he wins here today, he will be walking home with a Grandmaster title. Christopher Yu is playing Elshan Muradiabadi. And then we have two really key matchups for the day, and that is Emilio Cordova against Sergey Ehrenberg and Federico Perez Ponce against Sergey Azarov. Of course, Emilio Cordova and Sergey Azarov both tied for the lead in the B group with 5.5 points. And meanwhile, Federico trails by just a half point with 5 out of 8. So Federico manages to defeat Sergey Azarov. He moves to 6 out of 9 and will go into a playoff with Cordova, assuming that game ends peacefully.
So which one of the games do you suggest we should go over first?
Let's go to Cordova first,
All right.
we'll say.
Never mind. I just changed it.
Okay.
All right. Cordova against Sergey Ehrenberg. So
wow, this looks like quite an interesting endgame.
Yeah, we see this imbalance of rook and 2 pawns versus 2 pieces. So that usually is supposed to be better for the rook, I would say.
Yeah, especially with the pieces for the rook. Generally, at least, when the pieces are best in the middle game, when they can work with the other pieces, they can really kind of flex the power of having the extra material. In an endgame, rooks they have more mobility than 2 pieces do together. It takes more time to get these pieces around. And so the rooks generally gain in power the closer to a pure endgame that you get.
Yeah, and white currently has that b pawn passed, which is blocked by the knight in b6, which makes sense. Knights are the best blockading pieces. But now white is trying to create a second passed pawn, and of course we have to consider what is happening in case black just says, you know what, I'm going to just capture that pawn.
Yeah, it seems possible. I would guess white might take it back.
I think it takes back. Yeah, we need to try to see if there is...
So as I was mentioning, the closer to a pure endgame you get, the more powerful the rooks are. So black probably doesn't want to play queen takes d5, because that allows white to take the queen, and then after knight takes queen, rook c8 check, and after rook takes c8, I think it's going to be...
you can also go there directly if you want to be fancy.
Ah, sure, yes.
I'm not sure if it makes any difference. Check, king goes to g7, I'm assuming, and...
Maybe we do take this queen. I'm not 100% certain. This might actually be closer to a draw than anything, though.
That's why I'm trying to think in this position. Is Cordova trying to go for a draw, or does he have something we're missing? So let's go back to this position. So if black captures in d5, was white's intention really to take back in d5? Maybe they were planning maybe they had something else up their sleeve.
Yeah, there might be a rook c7 idea. There might be even an e5, e6 idea. I mean, we've seen this e6 type of move for a few games now. But
e5 is a very interesting idea here. I was thinking maybe sacrifice doesn't work.
Maybe just rook d1 is a pin to regain the pawn.
Maybe something like this, yeah. I mean, I don't think white should give that pawn back.
No, the way that the most forcing line works out, it looks to be like black is just holding. So no reason to go for that then. When you can just keep the game alive and keep your chances alive.
Yeah, rook d1 in this position, and rook d8 is not possible. Your knight is hanging in b6. You are staying pretty passive with black. You haven't really been able to activate your pieces, as you were saying previously. So for sure, this is going to be a tough moment for Sergey. He's going to spend some time to make sure he finds... It's a critical moment. This position is a critical moment for sure.
Yeah, so Sergey Ehrenberg taking his time here. It is move 27, so he has a few more moves to make before that time control.
Yeah, and he's a little bit lower on time compared to Emilio Cordova.
Yeah.
8 minutes to 25 almost.
Under a little bit of pressure on the board and on the clock.
And on the clock. But this tournament, I feel that he has entered a lot of time trouble, and he's a very strong chess player, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. They're really, especially when you're in time trouble, I feel that your brain just works much faster, calculating all these lines, and you
get a singular focus on the
game. and that's it, and you can find a lot of really great moves, and but this position is for sure very tough to make decisions in, to Yeah.
Yeah, so Emilio Cordova with some pressure then. But why don't we actually check out the other key matchup in the B group? I'm sorry, did I say Emilio under pressure? Putting pressure.
Putting
Sergey
pressure,
under
yeah.
pressure. The other key matchup is, of course, Federico Perez Ponce against Sergey Azarov. And what position do they have on their board?
This is the current position, and oh, look at the two players. Very much focused in this game. Both players have the chance to win this tournament, or at least go into a playoff. So
it's a great final round matchup for us.
For sure, and White has an extra pawn in this position. Their king might look tiny bit weak, but I don't think that's going to be enough for black. We have some weaknesses on both sides.
Yeah. So maybe a slight edge to white then, actually.
Slight edge, maybe more than that. Maybe quite some advantage, I would say, in this position. I mean, after queen f7, we have these ideas of playing something like queen e5, rook e5, maybe putting some extra pressure on that isolated pawn in d5. Rook d1 afterwards maybe as well. Of course, it's not going to be easy to convert this position because the more we are approaching a rook endgame, the more chances black will have to hold the game. And yeah. But for sure, endgames have been something that we've seen a lot in this tournament, and I think it's exciting because even if it's an endgame, they get into these complex endgames. There are a lot of lines to calculate, a lot of ideas.
Yeah, definitely still interesting chess in the endgame.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I'm just trying to think here. I've been trying to find some way to generate some counterplay for black, and it's quite difficult. You can try to go after the c pawn by, I don't know, something like rook c4 and trying to double the rooks. You can try and get on the b file, but I don't think that's really leading to anything, right? Whenever you start to make a threat on the b file, the white rooks can kind of just cover it.
But we have ideas for sure like this, and trying to kind of switch whichever files we want.
Switch to the b file and try to really get at this white king, but for example, if white plays rook e5 here, maybe that's a slightly more realistic idea to play queen b7 now. But you're simply already losing the pawn, so it's quite difficult to find some idea here for black.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of something actually. If you're not playing rook to e5, I was thinking maybe I also have ideas to play queen f6 and just try to trade the queens. I think black should be looking forward to trade the queens in this position, and
that's definitely a sensible way to play. But yeah, I think rook e5 is actually strong.
Seems like a really good move.
Maybe it does allow a queen f4
Maybe
move.
Can you do... No, that would be too much. 2 pawns down. You should not do that. Queen f4.
Queen f4 also is going 2 pawns down.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I don't think you want to go for this line because, well...
It's
2 pawns. It's 2 pawns. 2 pawns is 2 pawns. I mean...
It's enough.
And... yeah, there are very little endgame, rook endgames where 2 pawns will draw, so there are way too many pawns on the board to expect that would happen.
Rook e5, I guess, forces rook fd8 then. You could go with the c rook as well, but I don't think it makes sense.
I would say, yeah, probably rook fd8 should be played.
And then how do you continue with white? It's difficult to bring more pressure without giving up on d5. I'm
thinking some interesting ideas of more attacking ideas, trying to get 7th rank. That's what. But I guess rook d7 or rook c7 should be. Or can you play rook c4?
Yeah, even rook c4 here.
Yeah. So this is a nice idea for black. I think I'm finally seeing these a little bit better.
Maybe the way out.
Way out, and then maybe play d4. That's what you might want to do. So I'm thinking we get rid of 2 weaknesses. Black gets rid of white 1 weakness. White does get rid of another one. But
it does also succeed in opening that long diagonal on the white king. Yes,
and then we can say that black's king will be safer than white's if that were to happen. So maybe now we're seeing some new ideas for potential ideas for black here with trying to go rook to c4 and d4 in this position, trying to open up a little bit white's king. Because going on the b file, I know I put those arrows there and it would be really nice, but unfortunately it doesn't do much. Rook b1 just stops the threat.
Definitely.
It's just super simple. Just put the rook there, chase the queen away, and that's it.
So Federico still, though, with a slight edge. It's difficult to deny the edge of a full pawn.
Yeah.
So he'll be looking to try and press this game, try and convert this game. But I definitely think Emilio Cordova has much better chances of winning his game than Federico does.
I believe so, and we can go back to that game for a second. I see a few more moves having been played after d5. Sergey went for bishop f8, just returning the bishop. Maybe
it feels like if you have to play bishop f8, things might be going wrong.
It's a little bit tough for sure for black in this position.
Of course, white would love to play d takes e6, but it hangs a queen for the moment. So
Yeah.
I think that's why moves like rook c7 start to become appealing.
Yeah, and that move was actually played on the board, and we're seeing the two players right now.
Yeah, I actually don't know how black is going to deal with this threat. If you move the queen to d6 or something, things
Rook
like
c6.
queen-
New rook. This new rook is
yeah,
coming.
new rook to c6. Also, queen f3 is possible. Just attacking f7 and asking you how do you defend it.
Maybe just knight d7.
Yeah, but then rook c6, and I can take on e6.
Do I have an intermediate move, queen knight e5? Maybe not.
Even the other rook is.
Well,
yeah.
you should keep that so that
Right.
you mate, right? And now if I go knight to e5, maybe you can go,
Queen f4.
yeah.
Yeah, and this
Ouch.
line looks devastating, actually. So what is black's plan here? With rook c7 on the board. I guess queen e8 is possible, but
It's
it
very
feels
passive.
bad.
It's very passive and might allow d6,
It
and
does
white
not
is
feel
just
good.
if white gets d6 e5, black's
This
bishop will
game
be
is-
dead.
it's
and
over,
It's very tough. You're getting on the defensive with white having the two rooks. It's not really very easy here for black. So not quite sure what was his plan when he went for bishop f8. Maybe he missed this idea with queen f3, but rook c6, really, rook c6 is also something very disturbing.
This is tough. I mean, okay, you can play queen d8, but still queen f3 I think is strong.
Queen f3, I like it.
And what do you do with black?
How do you defend f7?
I mean, if you play knight d7, I'm just going to take e6, and that's
Yeah, and we've seen those kind of pawn structures.
maybe
before.
here you play queen e8. It seems very strange to bring the queen back to d8 and then over to e8, but the point is now you can't play d6 immediately, and maybe I'll bring this bishop up to d6, which is honestly where it might have belonged in the first place.
Actually, Caleb, Sergey just made a move. He went for queen to d6.
Oh, but
I
this-
liked your idea
no,
a
this-
little bit more.
Yeah, no, queen f3, rook c6. This is devastating, right? This is
I wonder, can black play f5? It's too much. I know it's too much, but I'm just no rook c6.
yeah. No, I'm gonna have to say no to f5.
Yeah, no, it's too much. It's too much weakening. It's not my pawn, so I feel like I could move it forward, but I don't think. Yeah, black could even consider to play f5. It's too much weakening of the 7th rank.
Right. And how else do you defend? You can play bishop e7 or knight d7. Those are really the only other two options to defend f5. And
Yeah, but after rook c6, you cannot really defend. E6 is going to be falling.
so maybe bishop e7 is his idea, and then after rook e6, queen a3, just trying to save his king, but as you said, e6 falls, and if e6 falls, the black king will fall regardless of, well,
It's too weak, sir.
your queen is attacked, so you have to trade first.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. How did I miss that? Queen a3.
Well, maybe that's Sergey's out.
maybe that's his idea. Okay.
Many a chess game has been decided by queens moving sideways.
Okay, I feel like this is going to go somewhere on one of those, GIF videos. How do you how do you blunder your queen? You just play, you just attack it on the side, and Sabina is going to drop the queen.
No, queen's moving sideways. It's a very difficult rule.
Well, remember actually Cordova in that game that he was maybe queen f1.
Oh yeah, he's missed queen's moving sideways before.
Yeah, queen b3 in that game, and he actually came here in an interview. He mentioned he forgot the queen was coming back to protect third rank. So. You see, it's made it at higher levels than I am too. So I guess it's acceptable.
No, yeah. So queen f4, even just queen takes a3 and then taking on e6, and the black king will have serious issues.
That is true. Yeah, but I think you probably want to keep the queens on the board. You can certainly put some pressure, considering the black's most pieces are on the queen side. So
yeah, after queen f4, I think you're just ending the game after a move like d6.
Mm-hmm. That's what you want to do. Also taking there.
Yeah, this is
and this is just a check, right? It's not. I mean,
and
you could try. You could try.
Have some moves on the board. It looks
as
though queen f3 was not played.
No, it's not played. All right.
Started with rook 1 c6. And this is actually incredibly similar to the mistakes he made in that other game.
That is true.
Where he first attacks the queen with a rook, rather than just directly start making the threats. Yeah, I'm not sure I actually like this move. He has plenty of time on his clock, once again. He's up time, once again. He played quickly, once again, and it was a key moment, and I think queen f3 was simply stronger. Now, I could be wrong. I haven't checked that. But I think...
I liked your queen f3 very much. It's about consolidating your pieces, exiting from a pin. It's a move with tempo, and you're just putting more pressure. And I think oftentimes, even when you play a game, like when you do commentary, sometimes you're dragged by some specific moves with tempo more than others for some reason. But I do like your queen f3 much more than this rook c6. Now, might still be,
Yeah, I think it's still going to be a very nice edge for white. Maybe white is actually still just winning. But
now queen d8 was played by Sergey, and now Emilio is...
Now queen f3.
No, okay.
So I don't understand why we drove this queen to d8 first, because now queen e8 is another option for black to defend against this threat to f7. And I mean, it's not good for black. The pawns would be fractured, and white will be winning, but it's a lot better than the alternative was.
Well, what do you do though if I take? I'm not even sure I need to take d6 as an option too.
Yeah, d6. I mean, takes and queen f6 is also an option for
queen f6 or queen g4. Where do we want to place the queen? That is the question. I feel that I do not want to trade queens. I would be more tempted. Or queen b3.
I'm sorry. What's wrong with queen f6?
Nothing's wrong. I just don't want to allow trades.
Well, how does it allow trades? I don't.
Doesn't allow any trades.
Yeah, I don't see what is to be done.
Knight d7.
Knight d7. Okay. Yeah, this move might eject me from.
I mean, you will trade the queens.
Yeah.
And maybe you can be winning here.
So yeah. So I guess.
I'm just thinking, why trade queens when black's king is so weak now? The rook is doing amazing on the.
I definitely agree.
But we had a move actually on the board.
Wasn't seeing knight d7.
Queen e8 was not played in that position. Black went for knight d7 instead.
And well, yeah, I guess this is actually a better try. And
because you cannot take
like now we don't have rook. We don't have any way to attack this queen again. We've already kind of attacked the queen. We've missed our opportunity, I think, to really end this game.
But he seems confident. He went for the capture in e6. Okay, so it's definitely just destroying black's pawn structure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being kind of harsh here, but white is still winning. I mean, that's not in question here.
And then maybe he wants to go queen somewhere now.
I liked your queen b3 move.
I just wanted to be a little bit far away, pin the pawn as well, make sure the pawn is not pushing. But queen g4 also pins on this side, so I think either
this move even defends b5.
Okay, but there was this interesting move after g takes e6 that I was thinking about. I wasn't sure.
Knight e5?
I didn't get to look at it. And actually, Sergey did play knight to e5 in this position.
You can take f7 and play queen c3 to pin the knight. And I'm not sure if you can really play bishop g7 due to rook c8.
And your discoveries in f3 will not work, so this is bad. This is bad.
What is to be done after e takes f7? I think black is losing. I mean, you can play king g7 or king
I don't
h8.
I don't see a difference between those. I mean, h8 at least you have bishop g7, but
and then queen c3 no matter what.
Oh, I saw an idea. I saw an idea. I'm not sure where you move the king, but the idea would be if you go here. Oh no, it's not. It's nothing.
Yeah, there's just the one check. I do cover the f3 square, and now your knight is hanging, and you can't defend it. I mean, you can play queen h5, but I'll simply attack the knight again. Or I guess you have rook takes b5, perhaps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was trying to see, but you do have some f4 ideas. I'm not sure when.
I think maybe rook e6 is simpler. And everything is coming with check, and everything is coming with tempo. It's quite difficult here for the black pieces.
I definitely agree. And you really don't have sufficient time to play rook b1, try to create some counterplays.
Yeah, I think like the only move here for black would be some like queen h5 move, just defending. But then things like rook e8, rook c8, you're threatening, well, maybe not rook c8, you want to defend this pawn, but rook e8 might make a threat to actually capture on f8 and just promote this pawn.
That's a nice idea, Caleb. Or I just want to be very fancy. Today is my fancy day.
I do not want to play f4, Sabina.
No,
I don't want to do it.
I do not. I do not want to play f4. That's too much. It's going to allow some perpetual checks for sure. No, I was thinking just some fancy move like this.
Rook b7.
But I don't think you can move the rook around, and I don't think I can actually do that much.
Maybe I could even take it.
I was thinking of that, but
No, I mean take on b7.
I thought you meant the. Oh, okay. Can you?
Maybe.
What do you plan to do
Rook
after?
b3.
Ooh.
I've got some sideways movers again.
Ooh, so yeah, that's not gonna be enough. All right. White should not.
Yeah, I mean, white doesn't need to go in for any of this.
Yeah, I was saying I was trying to be fancy. I realized that it was too much. But let's go back to our position, because actually we do have a few moves.
So yeah, ef was played, king g7 was played, and now
this is the current position.
Yeah, it's Emilio's move. I mean, queen c3 seems
we're anticipating,
obligatory.
Queen c3, and I do not see a way for black to defend in the
Very
position.
tough to hold it all together. Rook c8 is coming, and then
I wonder if we don't check if it makes any difference for black. So after queen c3, just taking the pawn immediately.
Well, yeah, I think I'll play the same way with rook e6.
And then maybe in this position we can go for. Nah.
Yeah, every idea that comes to mind, there's immediately, you see, well, no, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I play bishop d6, but no, that doesn't work at all. Maybe I play queen d1 check, but no, that doesn't work. Maybe
Yeah,
I play
rook
queen
b1,
g5,
I was
but
thinking.
like rook b1, it's just.
Doesn't seem enough. And
Yeah.
we see rook b5 being played, and we're anticipating rook e6 in this position. I mean, Emilio Cordova is taking his time, doesn't seem to rush into this position too much, just make sure he has the win. If he wins this game, he's going to be first or share first.
Yeah, he
Depending
will
on what-
guarantee himself a spot in the playoff.
For sure.
And likely just clear first place. Yeah, I do want to mention now, I have just looked at the computer, and I think in the position where queen f3 was possible instead of rook c6, white was just like plus a billion, the game was ending.
Okay.
It's +2 now,
Okay.
which is winning, but, it's not checkmate. So I think really Emilio missed a real opportunity there to play queen f3 and put this game behind him and just finish it and go home a champion. But now there's definite work to be done. Moves like rook c5 are also actually possible for white. In fact, I think the Stockfish just wants to play King G2.
That's funny.
Say, okay, you're going to check me in every line, so I'll move now.
To make sure no checks and just...
make you make a decision first.
Zugzwang kind of for black. It's very, very tough to find a move if you play King G2 in this position.
Well, I don't expect white to play King G2, but...
well, you never know. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think these moves, Rook E6 and Rook C5, are both very, very tempting options for white. But it's been a while since we actually checked back in with the A group. Has there been progress in these games between Daniel Naroditsky and Jeffrey Zhang?
So let's look at Jeffrey's game.
Daniel and Rinat, of course, and Jeffrey and Grigori.
Let's take a look at Oparin against Jeffrey Zhang. So in this position, white... oh, there have been some trades. Maybe we can go back for a second and see after that E5 move what happened. This was the position we're looking at, and we're anticipating some
maybe F6?
F6 ideas for black, but it seems like black did not rush to play F6. Just trying to maybe, you know, make sure B7 is well protected against some move like A6.
Now Bishop B2, it would be a threat actually, I think.
And then white play Rook D1, just pinning the bishop. Now this interesting move, Bishop B6, offering the trade and, you know, trying to go closer and closer to an opposite color bishop endgame. Forced trades and now A6. Okay, so that's a pretty nice move for white, trying to destroy a little bit black's pawn structure.
Definitely.
And if black is not going to have majority or mobile majority on the queen side, we will have one on the king side. So this is how Oparin is, I guess, trying to play for the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, slight advantage. Definitely the E pawn is worth more than the A6 pawn. I will say that. But I don't think it's nearly enough to get a decisive result in this game.
And finally, we see this F6 move. All right, so F6. White is kind of forced to take in F6, and now black actually is ready to capture it with the king. So that was a little bit different than what I was anticipating a little bit earlier, to play F6 and then try to maybe capture with the bishop and keep the two rooks open on the D and E files.
Jeffrey's improving his king, though. No reason to be.
And Rook C7. So, and then we had two more moves. Oparin went for Bishop C6, and black played King. What?
It's funny to me that Jeffrey plays King E6 here when Rook E7 might just be repeating.
I mean,
this is a classic move by Jeffrey. Though.
I'm not sure though. I mean, you know, why do you think?
Because Rook E3 checks I thought would be slightly awkward to deal with, and I thought Bishop E4 made the most sense to deal with it, other than trading rooks, which is obviously
that's true. It's gonna be a draw, yeah. Well, maybe he's not seen.
No. Jeffrey, as always, loves playing chess, and he'll do this. He'll do this for hours and be happy to do so. And now he does actually play Rook E7, offering a trade of the rooks. And it's really up to white now if he wants to try and keep the rooks on, try and keep something going, or if it's time to call it. And I think Grigori will actually just agree to a draw here.
That's possible.
My prediction. It
is possible. Let's go back to that game between Rinat Jumabayev. Oh yeah, they just agreed to a draw. We have a handshake.
So Jeffrey moves to 5.5 points out of 9. A half point ahead of Sam Sevian, who drew his game earlier today. So Sam is officially out of the running. Sethu and Rinat Jumabayev are the only two players able to catch that score. So why don't we check out that Jumabayev game, as you were mentioning. So of course this is the game where tragedy struck, and Rinat had a good position. He was up a pawn, and then he simply hung a piece. And I don't use that term lightly. He hung a piece.
Yeah.
His piece was on a square where it was attacked, and then he didn't move it, and then it was taken. It's tough to see that in the final round after such a great tournament. It's tough to see Rinat go down like this. And now we have this position where black still maintains the extra piece. White has 2 pawns for it, but black has now pushed a pawn all the way to the D2 square. And so it's...
This does not look very comfortable for white. I'm anticipating a win for black very soon here.
Absolutely.
The pawn is going for promotion. B2 is hanging here.
In fact, I'm not sure how you actually stop this pawn. Of course, black isn't threatening to promote immediately. But,
not yet, but...
I mean, you can even imagine a move like rook f7, which
Yeah.
looks a little silly, but there's only one piece that can stop this pawn. And if we take that piece, then we're home free. But maybe, yeah, bishop b2 is the main threat here, kicking the rook away, and then even rook f7 after.
Yeah, that's going to be... it's going to be a tough finish for Rinat, and he still seems very unhappy about the situation, what has happened.
It's tough not to be. He's been playing well for this entire tournament, and for things to just kind of collapse in the final 2 rounds must be very, very difficult. But, I mean, nothing to be ashamed of for Rinat. I mean, this was a tournament well played. He took down Jeffrey Zhang in a fantastic game of chess. A hugely
Very
complex
complex
position where I think he simply outplayed Jeffrey, and definitely a lot to be proud of this tournament.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but it's of course very tough when you kind of finish a tournament with a loss, and especially a one like this where it just doesn't seem to go. I mean, it's just a blunder. You didn't do anything wrong. You had a good position, an extra pawn, and if under other circumstances, or maybe if he didn't have. We didn't have the 30 move rule. Maybe he could go for a draw too. You don't know. You don't know. He could offer a draw and try to, kind of secure his position for a potentially tiebreak based on the other game being a draw too. I mean, I'm just saying from the point of view of the tournament, that could have happened. But
there is some psychology there actually, where this is where the draw, the 30 move rule, where you're not allowed to offer a draw until move 30, does actually affect some players. Because once they get into a comfortable position and they've gone into the game saying, okay, I just need a draw, I just want a draw. Once they get some position where they're like, okay, there's no way I lose this position, that's when some mistakes start happening. Because they're not allowed to offer that draw just yet. They have to make this move 30. They have to keep their focus up. They have to pay attention, and perhaps that's part of what went wrong today for Rinat.
Yeah.
That's enough being said, though, about Rinat Jumabayev. Why don't we check out Sethu's position, see if he has any chance at all to win this game. And
I think
looking at it, he's lost the bishop pair now, and it seems as though there's simply no chance.
And I just pulled the position. Yeah, opposite color bishops, so that's kind of refreshing for him a little bit, maybe, because if you trade the rooks,
good chances to hold.
Yeah,
but
it's not going to be
force a playoff. He would have to win.
Yes,
and that's simply not going to happen here.
I don't think. Yeah, unless some miracle, white just blunders something. We will probably not see a win from black in this position. It's kind of impossible.
Right.
So. We're anticipating most likely a draw.
Things looking very good for Jeffrey then. Assuming that Daniel Naroditsky gets the job done against Rinat Jumabayev, and I'm not even going to say assuming. I know Alexei Saran is not going to lose this position with white. Then Jeffrey Zhang will be our Group A Winter Chess Classic champion.
Yeah.
And actually, he's starting to rack up quite a few titles here. Of course, he is the 2018 Spring Chess Classic champion, the 2019 again Spring Chess Classic champion. Now, with success here today, he'll be the Winter Chess Classic champion.
Yeah,
it makes me wonder. Maybe next year we'll invite him to the summer and the fall, and then he'll
try
be the
to get
seasonal.
all the tournaments. Try to win all of them. I mean, he certainly has had a very good year. He's also been invited for the Vaikanze, or Tata Steel, as they call it right now, tournament in January, which is one of them, one of those very prestigious tournaments.
That's one of those big boy tournaments where he'll be playing the best of the best.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Certainly has had a great year, so it'd be nice to see him win this tournament. Of course, it still remains to be seen.
Yeah, I do want to mention he would be the first player to actually win 3 classics here in St. Louis. So that could be a very unique title for Jeffrey Zhang to have. Well, we wish him the best of luck. Of course, we also wish the best of luck to Rinat Jumabayev and Sethu, but it's not looking like things are going their way.
It's not
Why
looking.
don't we check in on the game between Sorokin and Justin Wang, because this is the other important game today. Not so much for the tournament standings, although Alexei could move his way up to 5.5 out of 9. But if Alexei manages to win here today, he will become a Grandmaster, achieving his 3rd norm, and he's already made the rating requirements. And so he would skip the IM title, go straight to Grandmaster. And we are kind of rooting for him, I think to do that. Not to hold anything against Justin, but this is a big moment in Sorokin's career, and a win here would, I'm sure, mean a lot to him.
Yeah, and it's very tough. He did, when we had him down here for an interview, he did mention that last time he was playing this tournament, I don't remember if he said it was the summer or the spring, but he did say that he was 1 point from getting his norm, and he needed 1 point away.
In the last 2 rounds, he needed 1 more point, and then I think he lost both.
He lost both games, and now he was in the same position. He lost his game yesterday against Alshan, a very nice game played by Alshan, attacking game, and now he has the white pieces, a much better position, I would say. He has an exchange up for a pawn, right? And
yeah, it's an exchange for a pawn, plus the black pawns are all kind of weak.
Kind of weak. Black's king is also pretty weak.
And, there's this uncomfortable pin on the b file as well, and the white pieces are very harmonious, I would say.
Yeah, maybe they still need a little bit of improvement. Like, I really don't like this bishop in e1. Probably could be improved a little bit. Maybe he's going for h4 or something.
Go to g3, you can go to h4. Go to c3 and look
try
at
to play
f6 that way.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of options for white to improve this position. He certainly has, a better position.
Yeah.
But you have to fight.
Of course.
Justin is not going to just let this happen.
He's defended some tough positions already this tournament.
He has indeed, and he is certainly very focused. Tries to get as much of this tournament as possible, and you can see him very focused on the screen. Camera pointing.
Trying to find the best way to put up some resistance here. Both players are down to 5 minutes, but they just have a few moves to play until they make the time control. White did go for bishop c3, by the way, we see on the board. Queen c7 is Justin's choice. No, I'm expecting actually this d5 move, I think is quite nice. And I'm not entirely sure what black does about it. There's this pressure on f6 is quite uncomfortable. The knight on d6 is pinned down, defending this bishop. The light square bishop doesn't really have any good squares to go to.
I do like the knight in d6, I have to say.
It is blockading.
A good job.
It's not very mobile for that square.
Yeah. And the bishop in b5 does need some improvement, maybe to get some b5 in. That would be good for black, trying to push those pawns on the queen side and, use the pieces from behind to support those pawns to push forward. So,
but first of all, black has a problem, right? So how do we defend f6?
Maybe he was hoping to do something like bishop back to g5, but then
queen b2 is very natural.
Queen b2 you want to go. Okay, I was thinking more like queen f2 and h4.
Yeah, that as well would point out that this bishop cannot stay.
Cannot stay there too long for sure. Yeah, I mean this is certainly an idea to try to chase it away.
If not bishop g5, then what? And perhaps Justin has the answer for us.
After queen c7, I think they white did go for d5.
Okay.
All right,
so it's now Justin's turn to try and decide what to do.
How to defend the pawn. And
queen e7 is possible, but rook e1 would be a very nasty pin.
Yeah, I think you have to be very careful about how you hang your pieces. Like you have to try to keep them more compact. Make sure your king is safe before you can think of getting too much activity. I mean, the knight in d6.
So I do want to mention we have a very, very important result in the game between Federico Perez Ponce and Sergei Azarov. Here we were saying white was a pawn to the good, but it was going to be very difficult to press due to some weakness in his king, as well as some weaknesses in the pawns. And so with this draw, Sergey, huge news as well.
Wow.
Naroditsky has officially defeated Rinat Jumabayev, and you see some frustration there from Rinat. This is great news for Jeffrey, though. He's more or less guaranteed
first place
sole
without
first place.
Without a tiebreaker event. I mean, without a playoff event, and we haven't.
So Sethu, of course, could potentially mathematically still win, but that's so unlikely that I don't think it's even worth discussing.
I don't think that's going to.
So I do want to mention, though, with this draw in the B group as well, Sergey Azarov's chances have greatly improved. Of course, now his fate lies in the hands of Emilio Cordova. So if Emilio only manages a draw in his game, then there will, in fact, be a playoff. But if Emilio can win, then Emilio will be sole first place officially.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So Emilio's fate is in his own hands, and Sergey now has to rely on Sergey Ehrenberg's tenacious defense, trying to make this game last.
That's for sure. And I think we're going to get Daniel Naroditsky join us today here.
Yeah. I don't think we've actually had him yet, have we?
We have not had him, and maybe we should get Sergey Azarov as well, although we don't know yet what's happening in that tournament.
Yeah, we could get his thoughts on the tournament in general. Definitely want to get Daniel, though.
Yeah, to walk us through his game, tell us about his comeback into chess. And,
maybe we can have both.
Yeah, just have, we'll see, but for sure we'll get, I think we should get Daniel here.
Absolutely.
And,
while we wait for us to round up those players, why don't we actually take a look at this position that Emilio Cordova has?
Emilio Cordova against Sergey Ehrenberg. I mean, things have changed a lot since we last have seen it. We kind of left off the game after, white took in f7, destabilizing black's king a little bit, and now...
Yeah, well, while you catch us up here, I think Daniel is actually just about ready to come in,
All
so
right.
I'm going to hop out of my chair and we'll get him in here.
Sounds good. So what we had here is rook takes b5, and then, white went for rook c5. Very interesting approach. Just blocking the protection of the knight, offering a rook trade. Rook to e6 was the other option, but Emilio Cordova thought it was probably better to go for this endgame. And then we have queen d1 check, king g2, and now queen f3. And maybe this is something he could have missed, and now the queens get traded off the board, but white has way too many pawns. This position, knight g5, has been played trying to get this pawn back and kind of get the position back on track, but I don't think that's going to be possible. And we have Daniel Naroditsky joining us today. What a nice final round. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Savina.
How are you, Daniel? It's been a very long time since I have seen you over the board. Of course, I've seen you here, but I mean, you're back to playing chess. I know you're in school.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated in June from my undergrad in Stanford, and I made the decision to move to Charlotte. I mean, the secret is out by now in December, so about a month from now. And I'll be playing, coaching, streaming, writing, all of that put together. I'll be doing that, for the foreseeable future. I figure if I'm 35 and I, wake up one day and I have to go to my job and I'm like, I want to play chess now. It's not going to be the same. So.
All right, but you're not 35 yet. You're
not
still
35.
Really,
so
really
that's
far
why I'm
from
doing
there.
it. Yeah.
All right. So you have kind of your background in education, so you feel that you could go back to. I mean, not education, but I mean, you have your degree and you feel you could go back to your field, but right now you're back into chess. I've talked to you before about sometimes taking time for playing U.S. Championship, and then 1 year it was working out, a year wasn't. So now you're gonna be dedicated for chess. We're gonna see more of you.
Yeah, chess is a possessive mistress.
Yeah,
so.
And you have a very beautiful article you usually write for Chess Live.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, we really enjoy having you in the chess community. Tell us about this tournament and today's game.
This tournament was very strange. I mean, my score does not tell the whole story. I was the recipient of incredible luck in about 7 out of the 9 games. In round 2, I beat a Kobian, so that kind of set the tone. Throughout the tournament, I was getting in a lot of bad positions, and I managed to put practical pressure and practical problems in front of my opponents, and my opponents missed a lot of wins put together. But when you put your heart into it, you often get luckier. So I lost the last round against Sarana in a very painful game. I was completely out of sorts. And so this game, I came out and I said, I'm not going to just grovel, with black for a draw. I'm just going to play King's Indian, play my openings, play sharp chess. And he blundered a piece in one move.
Yeah.
So after rook c7, move 25, this is a very sharp position, and white has to move his bishop because I've just defended the queen. So bishop b6, rook b7, and now knight f2 is the critical line. That's what he was intending to do. And now after rook takes b6, actually I was going to play rook back to c8. I wasn't going to play rook b7, believe it or not. But same thing, queen takes g4, like queen moves. I was not going to take the queen, but I was going to think about it, maybe queen e7 or whatever. And I'm sure the computer thinks white is better, but I've got these latent chances, like h5, knight c5, a lot of ideas that black has here. I felt like I had good practical compensation, but I was walking around and I saw he grabbed his knight, and he kind of looked at me and I looked at him, and if this was the California Scholastic Championship, I might have forgiven it, but I'll take everything I can get. So he had to play knight f2. He actually found a way to make it not as simple to win. That endgame after knight takes b5 is far from trivial, but this knight b4 idea is very important because it allows me to A, extricate the knight from e3, and B, basically strike while the iron is hot and while he's uncoordinated.
Yeah.
And so I made a couple of rook a5 was also a very important move because if I move the knight immediately to d4, he takes and he goes rook b3, and if I take knight takes a2, rook a1, very messy stuff. He blockades with knight d3 later on, so it was very important to find that an immediate move after which the game is over. There was one other nice line after d2 at the very end. Had he played rook b3, trying to pin the knight, rook takes a4, so king g2 now, stopping rook a1 check, and now I have a beautiful move, knight d3, setting everything up ablaze. And
feel free to take my rook. And you're
I was going to take the rook on c4. I think that's a little cleaner.
Okay.
And the knight is untouchable, and I win the game immediately. So regardless of what he takes, I win the game. And instead, he just gave up the pawn, which of course loses straightforwardly.
Yeah.
So overall, I made a lot of mistakes. I can't say I'm fully satisfied, but all is well that ends well. So I'll definitely take the +1 score. And congratulations to Jeffrey. I believe he gets clear first.
Yeah, there's still one game going on. If Seturaman can somehow...
No, but he's not going to win that,
He's
right?
not going to win,
okay.
no. But I think Jeffrey is going to be, sole winner.
And I share with Sevian second, third?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
We were trying to look at the first to see if we're going to playoff or not, and we're kind of looking at those results, but I believe you're going to be sharing second, and it's a nice comeback. It's always nice, I think, to finish a tournament with a win.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, I think, for Renat, having lost yesterday and today. Probably he went for the bishop but detached the knight or something. It's happened to me sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happened is knight f2 is the second move of the variation, and sometimes in your mind you get confused. So you make the first move the variation. And
then he forgot about it.
Yeah, so, the pressure got to him. Obviously, feel for him very much, and I felt bad during the game. I am not just saying that. It felt unclean somehow, but such is the nature of chess.
Game,
it's a brutal game, unforgiving, so what can I say? I'll take it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you good luck in your future endeavors as a chess streamer and coach and everything. So
thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. That was Daniel Naroditsky taking down Renat Jumabayev from the lead of the tournament after having a really good event, a huge blunder, as Daniel said. And I thought it was really interesting that he said he wishes, he felt bad about it. And we have another result. Victor Erdos won his game against Hovhannes Gabuzian. we actually have him in the studio right now. Congrats, Victor. How do you feel about this tournament? Nice win. We haven't had the chance to look at your game. We're trying to focus on potential tiebreakers, and for the top prize. But how do you feel about today's game and the tournament in general?
Yeah, this was a highly complicated game, and I, of course, I entered time trouble very early on. But yeah, it was. There were a lot of options, and we both played for win, so it turned out to be a very tense fight.
Trying to finish the tournament strong. It's
yes,
always important.
That, I wanted to reach 50% for sure. And of course, the tournament I really liked, and I'm really happy to that I got an invitation for this event, and the conditions were amazing, and I really like this club. It's yeah, I try to play as how to say. Yeah, I try to give my best in this tournament to show my fighting spirit.
Is this your first time in the U.S.? For sure, I can see it's your first time.
Yeah, this is my first time. Yeah, so yeah, it was. Yeah, I was quite excited
That's
when
good.
I came here.
Glad to have you here. You had some very interesting games throughout. Some positions we thought you were worse, and then you came back and pulled a win, or some like the one against Saturaman. We thought you blundered the queen, but I guess maybe that was one of the main lines, or maybe you missed queen f4.
No, I missed queen f4. To be honest, yes.
That's what we thought. But today you're coming with a win. Do you think is there a moment specifically in this game that we can go to that maybe you thought it was an interesting position?
There were a lot of very interesting positions. So,
we maybe say towards, you said you were in time trouble, so maybe around here. No, you're
yeah, I wasn't sure if I.
You already seems like you already have a pretty good position here, I think.
Yeah,
right?
but it's very complicated. If I don't react properly, then I can end up worse here, actually. So the knights are very tricky, especially my time trouble. So I was a little bit worried, and I decided to force the
to just
here.
sacrifice the exchange back, and
yeah. The problem was bishop after rook d4, c d4, bishop a6. There is this knight d5 move, which was very annoying. Otherwise, maybe knight 8, for example, was a mistake if I'm correct, because of bishop b7 first. And then to take on e8.
I'm not so sure.
And c7.
Yeah,
this is very important. Otherwise,
I don't even know.
King takes and king d7 rise, but in this case, I'm just winning the piece.
Yeah.
But knight d5, it looks like a bit weird with the knight on d5, but of course there is no refutation for that. So I really wanted to. I mean.
Maybe you can still get some activity here with
I was worried.
Oh wait, you
c7,
cannot.
Yes.
And then this is not going to be, this is bad.
This is not going to be good. So I really wanted to push it. I mean, I forced in the game the knight to e8 because I thought it's a better square for the knight or in general. And of course now I'm threatening d6, so knight c7 is not so easy to be played. And but here I'm not sure if I wanted to start with g5, but suddenly I didn't see the move after rook c8 because this was my original plan, and I thought it's pretty good. But somehow here I wasn't sure.
It's not so easy to defend that pawn, and you don't.
Maybe I should. I don't know if I really need to. Or can I play something? Because there were some ideas everywhere, so I couldn't figure out. That's why I played f4 to meet rook c8 with bishop g2.
This seems pretty safe. I mean, if you're going to try to keep the opponent passive, just try to keep him passive, and then put some. I mean, afterwards, don't give them any counterplay. This rook doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, and still my bishop was not. I was not sure where to put my bishop exactly, so I kept my options open for
But it's hard to put it in b5 because of knight c7.
Yeah. Yes. I really have to. His plan is like rook d8, knight c7, d5, and rook d6. So that's why I had to play like this. Okay, f5 was probably an inaccuracy. As I thought, I probably should have started with g5. The same idea, and if knight moves, then rook f6, of course, and then the same f5 idea. And it's transposition, and after f5, he could have taken on an f5 in. And somehow I thought it's okay for me to open the king, but maybe it was
maybe
just...
not, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
you
it
have
was
one rook to
very
try
stupid
to
for me to do stuff.
But since he didn't do it, it turned out that...
Because actually probably he blundered rook f6, because he started to think a lot after that.
I see.
So he thought it would be trapped.
The rook will be trapped, kind of.
Yeah, but this g5 is... and I was
smart.
expecting him to play king g7, maybe it was
king
better.
e7?
I don't know, maybe g5, gf, and it's now if bishop d3, then knight d5 can be maybe annoying a little bit. I wasn't sure exactly. Maybe...
He's trying to
yeah,
somehow
rook
go for
f5,
your...
knight e7 is an idea, for example.
Yeah.
And rook e6, maybe knight b4.
What about knight f4?
Knight f4 is possible as well.
Yeah.
Rook e7, king f8. It's still very
very
complicated, but
sure.
But I didn't like allowing knight d5, so I would have played bishop c4 first. It's probably very... g5,
Here?
gf.
Sorry. g5 takes here, bishop
and
c4.
bishop c4 to force... Probably it's forcing d5 or b5. Probably he should play b5 first, and bishop b3, and maybe then... Because the bishop can a little bit misplaced on b3, I would
but you kind of, it seems like you're controlling all of black's pawns in this position.
The pawns are not dangerous. Yeah, it looked very nice to me, but I wasn't sure if it's kind of...
But in time trouble, you always have the ability to make mistakes. You might not have sufficient time to calculate, but for sure, a very interesting endgame.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm a pawn down, and it looks like the c pawn is safely blocked, but actually I can create a lot of threats somehow.
For sure, yeah. A lot of black's pieces are really passive, and your king seems like it's just going to come now.
Yeah.
Maybe get this d4 pawn first, and then f. And
yeah, I can even try to include a king to f2, e2, d3, and h4. So there are many options. That still makes my life a bit harder to make decisions, but okay, I thought I'm in no danger anymore, so at least I can do this.
Yeah, but it seems like he chose a passive approach, and then...
but he has to. So
yeah.
The problem is he has to choose among a lot of very passive positions and try to hold some of those.
Maybe he didn't spend sufficient time here. We interviewed him yesterday. He was saying he sometimes tries to go a little bit faster, think during his opponent time, so maybe he didn't. But it looks like you were able to convert it afterwards very nicely. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was nice to have you finally have you here in the studio. We wish you good luck in your future tournaments, and we hope to see you again.
Yeah, I hope to return one day.
Congrats again for this very nice win.
Thank you.
That was Viktor Erdos, and I believe we're going to have Grandmaster Sergei Azarov joining us in just a moment with his... All right, I'm trying to pull the game. We're still seeing on the screen the game between Emilio Cordova and Sergei Ehrenberg. It looks like White has big chances to win this. We'll have to wait and see if Emilio is going to be able to convert this position and win the tournament. But we currently have Sergei Azarov with us with a draw today.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. How do you feel about this tournament?
Sabina, if it's possible, can I speak on Russian, okay?
You can speak in Russian?
Because my English...
All right, I understand a lot, but you'll have to speak slower. All right, okay. Sure, we'll try.
You can speak English and I Russian, okay?
Okay, so let's make sure we understand each other. How? Yeah.
Ну, сегодня, я считаю, у меня была хуже позиция.
So he thinks he had a worse position today?
В один момент, мне кажется, на мой ход ладья c8, ладья e5 давала.
Here?
Да, вот. Ладья c8, ладья e5, по-моему,
Yeah, that's.
большой перевес давала белым.
There was the move that we were thinking too, that the white would go for rook e5, try to put pressure here, but he didn't go for. He didn't go for
Queen
this
a5, queen a5, queen d5, queen, rook, and king b2, pawn.
You should be able to hold this position.
I don't like this
no?
position.
You don't like, of course. It's unpleasant. I mean, you were leading the whole tournament, and now you have black pieces. You have to try to win, to make, to have.
Ну, я ничего не знал в дебюте. То есть,
Was this something you prepared, the opening? Was this no?
У меня нет, не было идей.
Okay.
Я не знал линию с e5.
Okay, so you didn't know this, weren't familiar with the e5 idea in this position. Okay. So yeah, white seem to have gotten a better position from the opening, or right?
I think yeah. After b5, maybe very complicated, but.
So, long castle, certainly surprise. I mean, maybe a surprise here for white in this position.
A surprise after e5.
Yes, e5 was a surprise.
Was surprise.
But it's very hard from your facial to look at your face and tell, are you winning? Are you worse in the position? You're very good at. How do you do that? You just stay focused. You just stay focused. All right. So what happened? I mean, so he goes king b2. He thought maybe his king would be safer before going for rook e5 in this position, right?
Yeah.
And what about here after queen f7? If he goes,
rook 5.
are you gonna go rook d8 and maybe something like rook c4 and d4? Is this something that you're planning to do? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. That was something we were thinking about in this position for you.
I have some compensation, but not more.
Not so much. But you probably, I mean, do you want to trade the queens off the board or not? It's not so clear. Maybe you should keep them to try to attack white's king.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay. But he played rook d1, and then we didn't see the.
But he played very, very passive in this moment, I think.
Maybe he wasn't finding a way to try to maintain the advantage, and he thought, okay, draw is okay also. And then there was the final moment that you agreed on a draw here after move. Okay, g4. All right.
In this moment, I have queen c6. Full compensation.
Lots of pressures. This seems like it's going to come.
Yeah. Rook c4 and d4. My idea.
You've had a very interesting tournament here. A lot of you're playing a lot of positions, maybe equal, and then at some point your opponents were. Yesterday was a nice. I mean, it was pretty balanced throughout, and then.
Сначала в какой-то момент было выиграно вчера, потом была ничья уже.
It was you were winning at some point, right?
Да,
much
перед
better.
цветнотом, да,
You're
была
much
выиграна
better,
позиция.
How do you feel about coming here in St. Louis? Do you like it?
Мне очень нравится.
You like it very much? How many times have you played?
Второй, это мой второй турнир.
Okay, second time. Okay, and you were fighting to win this tournament, right?
Я старался, да.
Okay, tried.
Видимо, не получится, но старался.
It's very tough. May I ask you, what do you think about this position? Do you think Emilio is going to be able to convert this? I think he should be.
Мне кажется, у белых должно быть выиграно, да.
Yeah, he was winning for a long time. He traded queens, which we didn't think was necessary, but with 3 pawns, it's very hard for Sergei to Ehrenberg to.
Очень тяжело играть черную эту позицию.
When do you think, were you following this game as you're playing your own game?
No.
Okay, it's good. So is this the right approach when you're playing, even if you play for the first place, just focus on your own game?
Yeah.
Don't look at others.
No.
Only you cannot change.
I haven't time.
Yeah.
Смотреть на
You have
других.
to, you have to focus on your own game, and afterwards, okay, if it happens.
И у меня была очень тяжелая позиция сегодня.
Yeah, you had a
Я
tough
не мог
position.
смотреть на других.
I understand. It's totally understandable. But yeah, it's interesting. It's great to see you fight for first place throughout the entire tournament, and I think the result you have had is pretty good, even if it's not going to be first place, but still very good, very good playing. Where do you live? Do you live in? Do you live in the U.S.? I feel like I've seen you in New York for some events at some point.
Sometime in New York, sometime in Minsk.
In
both
so you're going
city.
back. Okay, all right. Where do you like it better? Am I allowed to ask you this question? No, maybe not. Maybe it's better not to. Well, it was great to see you play here. Thanks for joining us for the interview. Hopefully I did okay trying to translate.
Thank you.
And we wish you good luck in future events, and thanks for joining
Thank you,
us.
Sabina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we had Grandmaster Sergey Azarov with us, and now two important games that we have to look at a little bit longer. We see them on the screen. Sergey Ehrenberg thinking if he has any chances to save this game in any way, and then we have in the A group also, of course, the game between Sarana and Seturaman, also a position that could change the standings in the A group. It's very difficult, of course, we already mentioned that. We believe Jeffrey Xiong is going to take home the tournament without having to play any match for the first place, but I have Caleb back with me.
Some very interesting interviews there.
Yeah.
I must compliment your Russian skills. I wouldn't have been able to handle that one on the fly. But
I have taken Russian for about 3 years in college, so I understand it very well. I have stopped practicing it because it's a very difficult language. It has the grammar. You always have to be careful how you put the endings for every single case, every single question that you have. It's kind of interesting, but thankfully chess terms I kind of understand, so it worked out. Hopefully I did a good job to try to translate. He was very nice to try to speak a little bit English as well. So
as you were saying, this is the last game to determine Jeffrey Xiong's fate in the A group. Of course, this is as pretty close to impossible as it gets for Seturaman to win this position. He's not trying to press. In fact, he's just trying to hold this position against Alexei Sarana.
Yeah, he's trying to hold this position. It's going to be tough to expect anything else from this position. And then we have that Sergey Ehrenberg game that probably will not last much longer. I think we could try to take a look at Sorokin, Justin Wang.
Yeah, of course, this game is also very important. Not so much for the standings, but of course for Alexei Sorokin. If he wins here, once again, he goes home with the Grandmaster title. And wow, what a position he finds himself in, actually. It looks like White is doing quite well. There are checkmating threats. There's stuff like Rook H5. There's things like Queen H6. And I think Justin is simply going to get checkmated here.
Sorokin still stays very focused, try to get his final norm. Justin seems pretty relaxed considering his tough position, but of course, what can you do? You should not
at some point, when you know you're losing, you say, okay, well, I'll play the moves that I think are the best, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, of course.
Once you've kind of accepted that the game's out of your hands, then it becomes a bit easier. But yeah, I think both Queen H6 and Rook H5 are winning the game on the spot.
Yeah, Queen D3 is a way to try to defend H7, but if you're going to go for Rook H5 maybe,
Yeah, I'll go for queen h6 then.
Yeah, and then after that maybe
Yeah, so
you can go rook g5 also.
Yeah, you have to play rook g8, but then rook g5 is possible, like you were saying. And then I don't know, I guess knight e8 is the last defender of the g7 square. But what can be done here? Maybe just rook e1 is enough.
Rook e1 seems pretty nice, although you don't have a clear threat yet.
Oh, so you don't have knight.
No,
you don't have
you
queen
don't.
takes f6, but you might have knight takes f6.
No, the thing is you don't have a threat with white after rook e1. You are not threatening to take the knight because then there's going to be some back rank
I'm
issues.
going to take the rook and then take the knight.
Oh, true.
But
okay,
I think you
never mind.
might have knight f6. So this might
Knight
not
of
be,
queen.
If you play queen f6, then I'll take the rook and then I'll take the knight.
Take the knight, and
but
then
if you
it's
take
over.
with the knight, then my idea has been foiled. So maybe not quite as simple as all that, but definitely going to be some winning lines for white here.
Mm-hmm.
And Alexei has 25 minutes to find just one. You just need one winning line.
yeah,
That's all
yeah.
you need. You don't need to find all the winning lines.
He's still thinking in this position after Justin Wang's last move, queen to d4.
Perhaps maybe the best move then is actually rook ce1. And you can still have these threats along the e-file. In fact, you're also threatening rook h5 because now against queen d3 you would have this bishop e4
Bishop
move
e4,
in response.
just closing the action of the queen to h7 and
Rook e1, a multi-purpose move maybe. Threatens this rook e8 business, threatens queen h6, threatens rook h5, and it's tough to stop all of the moves.
And black,
for
black doesn't have sufficient time to use their c pawn, so yeah, it's going to be very very difficult, this position. Whew. Yeah, but to defend, I mean, for black.
Yes. So things looking good for Alexei. Perhaps he will in fact be going home with the Grandmaster title.
That remains to be seen, but I think it's going to be pretty clear. And then let's go back to this game between.
Yeah, and we get the close-up on Alexei there. Nice. If he's nervous, he's not really showing it. Just focus.
Yeah, I mean, he
Focused
has
at
to
the
try
board.
to stay calm and just play chess. And
Maybe he is a bit nervous. He seems a little fidgety, but
I mean,
I think
there's
the game's
a little
well
bit
in his hand.
There's a little bit of pressure. I mean, last norm, you have to.
Yeah, it's the final norm. You've been here
Final,
before. You've been in this, same exact tournament situation before, and it's just you just got to get it done.
And then we're looking at. Let's go back to the game between Emilio Cordova and Sergei Ehrenberg.
As this will be the decider for the winner in the B group. If Emilio wins, he is sole first. If he only manages a draw, then he will have to face Sergei Azarov in a playoff.
So now, after knight g7, he went for rook a7. Very interesting. So now he's saying, go ahead and take my pawn, because I'm going to go, I think, king e4.
King e4 looks natural, and then f5, and then, well, you can't. You want to play f6, but you don't want to give up both pawns for a piece.
No,
You can only give up one pawn per piece.
Yeah, you do not want to go into somehow of an endgame rook versus bishop. That's going to be a draw.
Of course.
Rook versus knight, depending on where the knight is, also most likely a draw. So you really need to try to take advantage of those extra pawns you have. I did not believe that black would have gotten the chance to
rounding up
take.
this f7 pawn was
But knight
quite a feat
g7.
from Sergei Ehrenberg. And
Yeah.
now more drawing chances than before. Should still be winning. But,
Should be winning. I mean,
maybe
king
slightly
e4.
more complicated now with only 3 pawns rather than 4 on the board.
True, but black's pieces are pretty passive, and f5 is coming, and then f6, as you said, trying to take advantage of the activity of the rook on 7th rank. You cannot really play king e6 in this position because I'll check you and then play f5, and then once again, f6, and it's going to be tough. I think we should be able to see a win by Emilio Cordova, but of course, Sergei's not going to let it go just like that. He's going to still try.
In fact,
get a
showing
draw.
very good fighting spirit. He's still spending quite a lot of time trying to find the best way to put up the most resistance and secure a half point, but looking quite difficult. So this is the only game that can decide things in the B group. maybe we should move to some other games.
Yes, of course. Which one do you suggest?
Well, we haven't actually taken a look at the draw that happened earlier today between Var Kobian and Sam Sevian. Maybe we could take a look, see how they ended peacefully. Looks like they simply agreed to a draw.
Yes,
after
they had a 3-4 repetition. It's Queen Knight d7, Queen d6, or Queen d8, and then back to f6.
Yes.
So probably this was some preparation they had. Nimzo transposing into some kind of Ragozin.
Right.
A3.
And, yeah, this is the type of line where white doesn't risk too much at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the last round. You know, Var didn't have such a good tournament.
Yeah.
He had some great positions, but for some reason he, you know, under time trouble or under, you know, the pressure of the tournament, trying to get some rating points, don't know what was going on. He did blunder in a few of his games, so I think draw, you know, finishing up the event on a good note is not bad for him. So yeah, and Sam was one of the leaders for a long time, like always in
yeah, he was always at the top of the pack, always, I think maybe just outside the lead, if not in the lead, and chasing Jeffrey and Rinat Jumabayev this whole tournament.
And so he's going to be sharing second place with Daniel Naroditsky, I believe.
Yeah, and I do want to mention, if Sethurman held this game, Sethurman would also be joining them in second place. But it seems as though he's lost a second pawn and maybe a third to follow after bishop c3. I don't know what has happened here. You mentioned earlier opposite colored bishop endgames, not always a draw.
Yes, I did mention
but,
that.
This one has gone horribly wrong for Sethu. I don't know
why he did
Wow,
lose.
and I think Sethu has resigned. And that makes it official. Jeffrey Zhang is your 2019 Winter Chess Classic champion, as all of the games have finished in the A group. He is sole first with 5.5 out of 9. 3 players take second place with Sam Sevian, Rinat Jumabayev, and Daniel Naroditsky. And Sethu, unfortunately, just outside that with that final loss.
Yeah, after tough start for him, it looked like he's coming back to the tournament. He did come back with 4.5 in the next 5 rounds, and
50% is more than you can ask for after starting off 0-3. But
that is true. But tough game now for him. Maybe the time change of having to start the game 2 hours earlier could have been and have an impact. Some players do not like those changes. Yeah,
of course, the news is in. Jeffrey Zhang is the champion, and I believe he is here, ready to come in for an interview.
Sounds great. Let's hope I can have some good questions for him.
Yes. So I will be leaving momentarily while we get Jeffrey in here.
Sounds good. And meanwhile, let us take a look, go back to that game between Emilia Cordova and Sergei Ehrenburg. So it looks like Black did not go for that pawn in f7. There's something we might have not considered, but he went for bishop c5. So he's trying to maybe keep the balance a little bit in the position, not rush to take the pawn, because he's thinking, well, I can take that pawn anyways. Let's make some mostly tempo. But still, white should be winning here. Although Emilio does not seem very confident, does he? Maybe he does. But, so he played rook a6, and then Black captures in f7, and now he immediately plays, what did he play? Rook f6 check, and he's looking forward to taking g6. Okay, this should be over very soon. And we have the champion of the A group at our Winter Chess Classic joining us today. Congrats, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
How do you feel after, winning the tournament? You were leading.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the outcome in the end. It was very fortunate that 2 draws were somehow enough in the last 2 rounds. But in terms of my overall play quality, I'm not entirely satisfied, let's say, but it was a decent event overall.
Yeah, you had a tough loss against Rinat, and it looked like he might be, trying to take home the event. Did you see what happened in that game as you were playing, or did you see afterwards?
Yeah, I checked the game at one point. In terms of what it had to do with my game, not much, because I think my game was more or less balanced from start to finish, so I couldn't really do much. Hope for much other than a draw. But yeah, I did see it at one point when Daniel was already up a piece, so I was definitely pleased when I saw that.
I see. Yeah, I mean, of course, you have to try not to look at other games. You are not really in control of those games. You can only hope that the result that's good for you is going to happen. But it's very important, I think, to focus on your own game and try to do the best you can. And then if it happens, it happens, right? Did something like that ever happen to you? It seems like Rinat had, thought about moving the bishop, but then he forgot.
Oh wait, could we pull that up?
Yes, of course. So what happened in that game was in this position. Nope, a little bit earlier. So in this position, Daniel just played rook c7, protecting his. Oops, after queen h3. Rook to c7, protecting his queen and, threatening the bishop, which was attacked long ago.
Yeah.
And then Daniel was telling us that Rinat just touched the knight to play it in f2.
Oh.
That's how it happened.
Oh.
So he was probably thinking to play bishop b6.
Yes.
Just chasing the rook away and then knight f2. So if you, then knight
that's
f2.
very unlucky. It actually, it happened to me, but in a good way because I was the beneficiary.
Okay.
But actually, my coach, before that, he was not my coach, but we played the game and he made the exact same mistake. He would have been better if he meant to play this bishop b6 first, but then he just forgot and blundered
the knight.
piece.
Yeah, this is kind of tough, I think.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
Especially the last round of a tough tournament can happen.
For sure, but this kind of released maybe some pressure from you or something as you were playing. I mean, you're never under any
I saw
worry.
Wait, what do you mean?
I mean, you knew that, okay, I drew this game and then I'm going to win the tournament.
Yeah, I saw the position after knight e3 takes knight b5 knight b4. I saw it at this moment, and yeah, at that point I just wanted to focus on my game, make sure not to do anything silly. And
of course.
The game.
And going into your game, we were looking around move, I think it was around here after e5. I meant to ask you, so in this position, did you feel like white? I mean, did you feel that you could have any kind of maybe ideas to play f6?
Yeah, this was my original idea, but I thought it's not clear after a6 now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I have many ways to approach, but it didn't seem clear to me that it was a dead draw. For example, if I take on a6 here, he will take on 6 with bishop, and now I have to move the rook to e7 or e6.
Right. Maybe.
But now rook d1.
Just pinning you, and then. So now it could.
At least he gets the pawn to e6. Yeah, fe5, fe5, bishop b6.
Yeah.
Takes e6, and maybe he could have gotten something similar in the game, although it would be a better case for me. Okay, still not a huge deal, but he has some hope here.
We missed that idea with a6 earlier when we discussed this position, a6 for white to try to get that, and then playing a6 yourself probably is not something you really.
Yeah, I thought about that one too. A6. My issue was. What was this? Rook b4, I guess. I have to defend, I think rook e7, and now rook d1. But now that I look at it, I have bishop b6, so I could have tried
maybe
this.
He can do the same. But
this
then you
is
take
a good
an
version
a5.
for me. Yeah,
right?
a5 is hanging. Does he, what else could he? Actually, I think I miss bishop b6 in that position. So yeah, maybe a6 was actually the cleanest way.
And it looks like Emilio Cordova also won his game, so we have two clear winners here at the Winter Chess Classic in both events. Just no tie breaks, no. Why I keep saying tie breaks? No matches to play. Emilio Cordova is the clear winner, same as Jeffrey Xiong. Kind of a very interesting turn of events. here.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting some playoff coming into the...
Yeah, but we were expecting that too. But it looks like we are not going to have to
Well,
do
actually, if I messed up somehow, there would be a big playoff, right? Everyone would be on +1, I guess.
Yes. I think you and Rinat Jumabayev, Sam Sevian, Daniel Naroditsky, and I think that's about it. Like, it would be 4 players who would, right?
Also, I mean, Serrano or Setu Ramon would also be.
Yes, all right, right. One of them, yeah, if they're, yeah, that's true. But, okay. You had a really great tournament, I think, besides maybe that tough loss against Rinat. I think you don't seem as happy with your play as I was maybe thinking you would be.
Yeah, that loss definitely was very painful. If not for that, I would be quite happy. Although I would say that my game against Gabuzian also I checked afterwards and I played quite badly. So these 2 games were really poor on my part. Okay,
but still, you're winning the tournament, which is always great to bring for you as a player. What's next for you now?
I think I might play a small event in December. I think in this month we'll be just training, but then a small event in December and then Waikanze in January.
Yeah, we've seen you got invited for that tournament. Is that one of the strongest tournaments you've ever
It is.
played in?
Yeah,
okay.
It is.
What do you do to prepare for such an event? Do you have someone you're already working with, different seconds, or?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a training session the week before, and hopefully get in Europe a week before Waikanze begins to adjust the jet lag.
Adjust for the jet lag. All right. Well, congratulations once again for winning this tournament. We're glad to always have you here with great comments about games, and we wish you good luck in the future tournaments, especially Waikanze. You're going to be one of the players we're rooting for here at the club, I think, and throughout the U.S. So, good luck and congrats once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we had Jeffrey Shong with us, the winner of the tournament, and I'm not sure if we're going to. Yes, we are going to get. I'm just told, Grandmaster Emilio Cordova for an interview after his impressive win last round against Grandmaster Sergei Ehrenberg. As he's getting set up, you can see this was the final position where Sergei resigned. Oh, what a tournament. Emilio started maybe a little bit tough, but he came back to shape, and he's joining me once again here. Congratulations, Emilio.
Thank you.
Nice win last round, and there's no playoff. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel great. I mean, it was unexpected, really. I was just playing normally, and if it's draw, so I know that Sergei is a tough opponent, so I try my best, and yeah, luckily he getting into this line that I checked just yesterday, so it was like good for me because I didn't spend too much time thinking about.
Was this preparation very long preparation, or?
Yeah, I'm not usually a player who prepares much, but okay.
It worked out for you this time.
Today it was like I was lucky that he get into this preparation. So I think the mistake it was rook c4 at the move 16.
So in this position,
yeah, but I wasn't so sure. I mean, I just checked till now, till this position, and I saw that rook b8, bishop f3, and white has a good position to play. So I thought that this was good enough to stop the analysis. So once he played rook c4, for some reason I was trying to remember what.
White was not a good move.
Yeah, so I didn't realize why. I mean, I just took on a6 because I think it's the only way to play for a win. That was my thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think after a4 I have passed pawn and 2 rooks, and I have more than just one column, so I guess that should be right. So yeah, that's.
By the way, going into this round, were you trying to play for a win, or did you think, okay, if I have a pretty balanced position and the other game between Peres Ponsa and Grandmaster Azarov, if that game was going to go to the draw? Were you going to maybe offer a draw at move 30 if the position was balanced, or
no,
are you the type of player
I was trying to
play for a win?
Yeah,
you have white pieces, so
and I mean, I prepared yesterday all these positions, so I have to fight at least, because I spent too much energy preparing this. So I say, okay, let's try it.
You have to try.
So I think that it was no risk much. So because after this queen d3, queen b6, bishop a3 is kind of pretty forced.
Yeah.
So capture and then a4. And I thought
this is a nice move because you're taking b5 and
I have A and C column, so I thought that maybe this is great. Looks like at least I will not lose, so that's great.
Yeah.
So when you're just playing for 2 results, so and this position I knew that it was hard, but I thought that maybe it's easier for me to play because the worst scenario is to lose the pawn on b5 and draw.
Yeah.
So that was my thought, but it's not so simple.
Yeah, you made sure that pawn was not going to be lost for a really long time.
Yeah, that was my strategy. So I don't know. Here, this position looks like good for me, but I wasn't so sure how good it was. So I just tried to play more concrete. So I think it was very natural, my move.
I think so, yeah. Getting on the c file, trying to get the 7th rank, putting pressure on f7. I think g6 is a weakening move for black, but it's very hard to find something.
Yeah, it looks natural, but suddenly, I don't know. Actually, after g6, when I play rook ac1, queen d7, I don't know if d5 is the right move, because after d5, maybe he can capture on d5, so queen d4 was my...
Yeah, what? No, we were thinking maybe rook d1.
So rook d1 was other my idea, so bishop a3, and now rook a1, that's what I was considering. But unfortunately, he can take on e4, and I wasn't sure about this position.
Here?
Yes. So now my queen is under attack, and take on a3, take on b5, and I wasn't so sure if I'm able to capture on a4 or to force black to play f5. I wasn't so sure about this. So I say, okay, maybe I blundered, but at least I just can play, after bishop a3, I can play rook d1. And it still looks like very good for me, because I will capture on d5 once again. That is, if, I don't know, there are some queen a1 ideas at some point, queen a4. It depends what black can do. So but
try to bring the queen into the game, maybe something like this.
Yeah, and I think it's so hard for black to coordinate all the pieces. So that was my thought.
But bishop f8 seemed like he just let you enter, and
but it wasn't so simple. I wasn't so sure about the game.
What do you think about going
queen f3? Yeah, that was the move I was considering, but then I saw this knight d7, so rook c6, I guess. So knight e5 and queen f6. But then I saw once again knight e7, and I say, okay, maybe I don't know, maybe it's not working because I just have queen c3. Looks like I'm winning. I mean, probably this is the best best move. Yeah, it looks like not natural.
But is the queen f6? Is that the only place for your queen? I mean,
after
can
queen
you go
c6,
queen c3 here? Or
oh no? Yeah, probably queen c3. What's more? But he can capture on c6, right?
Oh yeah, it's not enough. So queen
f6, yes. So
to keep the pressure,
yeah.
Queen f4,
yeah, queen f4 probably is better. I knew that it was something, but then I was like too lazy to calculate.
No, we were worried in a way that we remembered your game against Sergei Azarov, where you chased away the queen, and then brought your queen into attack, or I don't remember what it was. So we were worried. Okay, maybe you're missing that opportunity to bring the queen into the game. But this is also pretty forceful, and I think you should.
Yeah, winning. At the end, I wasn't so sure if it's.
Did you miss that idea with queen f3, or did you see
I saw it, but I thought that this is winning, but I wasn't so sure.
It seems pretty forced for
all this line, yes.
Yeah, a trade, and now that's of course a nice idea because your rook is hanging to trade the queens. But okay, now you have plenty of pawns.
I have to pass pawn. I know with the H and F pawn it's kind of tricky, and I remember I hold this game against Maciej a long time ago.
Okay.
So with 2 pass pawn connected, should be winning, I guess, but I wasn't so sure, to be honest. Maybe it's draw, I don't know.
So how come in this position after you played, I think it was a little bit forward, so he finally is able to play bishop e7 to try to get the pawn, takes knight g7. So in this position, if he was going to take, you'd go king d4, right?
Yeah, it's
and then
the
it seems.
move. Yeah, and the
like
bishop is passive, so
yeah,
I think it's hard. Maybe he can play knight e8, but then I just can move my king to h5 once again. I just need to wait and be patient and wait for the right moment to. Even though there is some rook a8 idea, if the knight goes to e8, so forced to king f7 and then some e6 ideas because the pieces are tight. So yeah, I thought that this still, I think it's hard to play for him and easier to play for me. So just and pressure. So yeah. I don't know, maybe I was lucky with the preparation finally, so luck is not bad.
Yeah, you had a tough loss in second round without because of preparation or maybe mistake, and now here works out in your favor. Sometimes I guess it's.
Yeah, I just try to eliminate that thought, but yeah, I mean, luckily for me, I went in this line, and and it works. So yes. Yeah. So finally.
Great. Well, and you're the sole winner. You don't need to play.
I was worried about the playoff.
You were?
Yeah, I was thinking to not. I was thinking, okay, maybe I should not play because I have to make an exam to take an exam this Wednesday. So I was thinking to go to study, but they say, okay, if I have to play, well, what to do? But
yes, you have to play the playoff if you were. But now you won.
Yeah,
you won the tournament by yourself, so no playoff, no extra work for us, also the commentators. So
I see. So it's good.
It's good.
For everyone. Yeah,
good for everyone. But very interesting game. What are your plans next, chess-wise?
I don't know for the moment.
It's just going back to study for your schools.
To do my school duties and just try to enjoy this moment because. It was unexpected, the way that I started the tournament. It was like so hard to me. I say, oh, come on, and now I'm going to lose more rating. Probably the next tournament I will have like 24 of rating.
Yeah.
I was so sad with then it's like, okay, what to do? I mean, sometimes you just train hard and just play and results, doesn't work, so what to do? I just try to be positive, and it works. Luckily for me, so.
Yeah, and you fought till the end, and a nice way to finish the tournament. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and I think we are going to wrap up today's day. We had a result in the B group. Elshan, after having had I thought an amazing opening. He actually lost his game against Christopher Yu, this being the final moment of the game. Certainly a tough loss for Elshan. Going back to our game between Alexei Sorokin and Justin Wang to see if Alexei is going to be able to win this game to clinch his Grandmaster title or not. And Caleb is just joining me.
Yeah.
For final thoughts.
Good to be back. And why don't we actually stay with this Alexei Sorokin game for just a couple minutes. I think this is the last game, actually, in all of the Winter Chess Classic. Group A has completely wrapped up, and this is the final game going on here. And I did want to mention, I think we might be setting some interview records this tournament. If my count's correct, I think we've gotten all but one player, and I'm not sure who's missing, but
Sergei Ehrenberg, I think we did not get him from the B group.
Well, we'll have to get him in next time. But
yes.
19 out of 20 isn't bad.
All right, so I did a good job forcing everyone to come downstairs, walking us through their games, and it's nice to have some Grandmasters' perspectives, their psychological feelings going into each round, during the game, after the tournament. So it was also great to have both champions of these two events, Grandmaster Jeffrey Xiong and Grandmaster Emilio Cordova.
Both
here with
phenomenal players, having good tournaments.
Good tournaments, and
why don't we actually see what's going on in this position here? Of course, we were saying White was simply winning earlier on, and I think that still is in fact the case. But how do you do it specifically? How do you put the nail in the coffin, send Justin Wang home, and put away the Black King here?
maybe h5. I just want to play h5, taking g8 and back rank mate you, or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, it is actually Justin's turn, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do about this h5 move?
Kind of interesting. Why did he play king h2? Is that necessary?
Maybe not totally necessary. I don't fully understand the idea, actually. But I guess it does give the rook access to h1 if it ever needs it. It does give the king a couple more flight squares with g3 and h3.
I wonder if after this move, black would have played maybe bishop e4. Is this even possible? And maybe have the ability to, you know, suddenly come into the game.
Interesting, yeah.
Putting some pressures, and maybe that's why White thought, okay, I need to take my time, put my pieces together.
Oh my goodness. So Justin Wang makes his move, ties his shoes, and then goes for a walk.
All right, what did he play?
Don't know if you caught that there.
No, I did not. I was focusing on the position.
Foot on the chair, he's tying his shoe.
Okay, so queen c3.
Fun to see. So it seems like h5 now does seem to be the move.
I'm not quite sure what is the idea of queen c3. Still hoping for a bishop e4, even if...
Yeah, so h5, bishop e4, what can white do, I suppose? I'm trying to calculate something, but I'm failing for the moment. There's no rook takes e4, because it's not actually back rank checkmate after rook takes queen. The rook can retreat and defend along the back rank. So we need something a little more clever than just taking off the pieces. And in fact, maybe there isn't something. So h5 might not yet be playable.
I'm not quite sure why why Sorokin let Justin Wang just get his rook to g8, just try to get some protection on the king.
I mean, it's never as simple as you think it is, but.
You have to try to put pressure.
This should just be.
This should be, but maybe not h5.
Yeah, h5 seems
maybe
a
we
bit
should not
rushed,
rush.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps even just some queen h6 move might be good.
Or queen f4.
Yeah, queen h6 or queen f4. Either way, you just want to step out of the way of the rook.
I think we should do that and then try to go for h5. I mean, maybe h5 is not even necessary. We need to try to make something like, I don't know, rook e3 followed by rook e8 somehow works. Some idea like that.
There's also like rook g5 ideas after h5. Once again, just trying to take off this rook on g8 and just give checkmate. You do have to be slightly careful though. Of course, queen c3 now attacks your rook on e1, but you can always throw in like a rook e3 move if you feel the need.
For sure.
So, okay, a lot of ideas for white. We expect this game to actually go on for a little bit longer. And with all of the standings more or less decided, I think it might be time to check out our standings. Here are our final standings in the A group. Jeffrey Zhang is your champion with 5.5 out of 9. There is a 4-way tie for second place. That is between Rinat Jumabayev, the tournament leader for almost the entire run of it, unfortunately ending in a couple losses. Sam Sevian had a very solid tournament, ending on +1. Daniel Naroditsky, by his own admission, had some ups and downs, but created good practical chances, good fighting chess, and the results showed. He ends on +1 as well, tied for second. And then lastly, Alexei Sarana, who I forgot to mention earlier, has actually also joined the second place players with this win over Sethu in the final round.
Yeah, for some reason I thought he had half a point behind or something, but...
Yeah, no, he brings it to +1.
Yeah, with that win that we did not really expect it would happen. We thought it might be a draw, but now, yeah.
Sethu is on 4.5 points out of 9. Once again, he perhaps had the most downs and then the most ups, with losing 3 and then winning 3 out of the first 6 in that order. Ends on 50%. Victor Erdos, who we got in here, brings his score up to 50% with a win here today. Grigory Oprin ends on 4 squares, or 4 points, 4 squares. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's all right.
Hovhannes Kabuzian ends on 3.5 out of 9, and Farr, unfortunately, with 3 out of 9, rounds out the A group. And here are the B standings as well. Emilio Cordova ends on 6.5 out of 9, an astounding score. That's what, +4 out of 9?
Yeah,
that's
impressive after
especially with
a tough
just 1 loss for Emilio.
Yeah, against Christopher Yu.
Yeah. So definitely a tough start to the tournament for Emilio, but he comes back, ends on +4, an incredible score. Sergey Azarov ends with 6 out of 9, in clear second place. We actually, wow, this is kind of incredible. We have clear 1st through 7th. I didn't realize it was going to end like this.
Well, there's still that game going on, which could change
for the moment.
a little bit.
Okay.
Alexei Sorokin, if he wins, he would share 3rd place.
So yeah, Sergey Azarov in clear 2nd, no matter what, with 6 points. Federico Ponce, for the moment, in clear 3rd, but we are expecting Alexei Sorokin to get it done, to win his game, to secure his Grandmaster title, and also secure a shared 3rd place. Melik Kachin is for the moment in 4th, will likely move to 5th after that Alexei Sorokin game. Tigran Harutyunian is next with 4 points. Alshon Muradiabadi ends on 3.5. Sergey Ehrenberg with 3. Christopher Yu with 3 after this win in the final round. And once again, Justin Wang struggling against Alexei Sorokin, hoping to somehow save the position, but for the moment looking to end on 2.5 points.
What a tournament we've had.
So, I do want to mention we have some very exciting upcoming events.
All right.
Tata Steel India actually starts in a mere 4 days. And then coming up in December is the London Chess Classic. Of course, the finals of the Grand Chess Tour. Your Grand Chess Tour 2019 champion will be crowned in London. Of course, last year, Hikaru Nakamura took home the title. I wonder who it will be this year.
Yeah.
It'll be certainly interesting to see. We will be doing live coverage of both of these events. Of course, in America, the times will be a little bit strange.
Yeah, I think there are 11 or 11 and a half hours difference between here and India.
I believe we're starting at 2:20 in the morning for GCT India.
It's going to be tough for
Tata Steel for you night owls or for you European viewers or Asian viewers, I suppose. Be sure to tune in for those. And once again, starts at 2:20 Central Time. So it'll be super exciting to see. And I think
for sure, yeah. I mean, I will be watching that. I'm not sure if I'll wake up that early, but for sure I'll be watching.
For those local to the St. Louis area, we're actually keeping the chess club open 24 hours a day during Tata Steel. So if you're in the area and you want to play chess all night, you've got that opportunity now during that tournament. So
it's going to be exciting, I think.
Be sure to check out those events. Other than that, this has been quite the tournament, Sabina. Any final thoughts about the players here?
A very interesting turnaround of events. After the way the tournament started, for sure I would have expected either Rinat Jumabayev or Jeffrey Xiong to probably win the tournament. There at some moment, maybe Sam Sevian was coming really close, but we could see throughout that it probably would be between Jeffrey and Rinat.
And yeah, then Rinat pulling ahead with that victory over Jeffrey. And
for sure, some very tough,
and then the tough ending.
Tough ending for him. But still, I think he had a great result overall. Maybe I don't know, after having played so long, he got tired a little bit, so that could have been an issue, or who knows, maybe he put too much pressure, really wanting to win this tournament. But I think it's quite nice to see the American player.
Jeffrey Xiong continues to impress, winning his 3rd Classic here. This makes number 3, along with the 2 Spring Classic championships. As well as Emilio Cordova playing very impressive chess, winning that B group.
Again, that was not expected. After the way things turned around, after maybe 5-6 rounds, we've seen Sergey Azarov just being the leader of the pack and always, on top. And until this last round, we really, I think we expected that there will be a playoff.
We thought that playoff was coming, and then Emilio just crushes his opponent once again, and I think securing 1st place, well-deservedly so.
For sure, and I think in a way it was psychologically a little bit better for him because he did go into the last round with the white pieces, whereas Sergey Azarov, although the same number of points, he had the black pieces, having to defend against another very strong player who's threatening to catch him or overpass him in case he would lose. So
Definitely.
for sure, Emilio did have maybe a little bit of a better chance, considering Sergey Ehrenberger also wasn't in his best shape in this tournament. But you still have to prove it. It's not going to be a walk in the park ever.
Yes.
So
Emilio and Jeffrey are two champions here for the 2019 Winter Chess Classic, and deservedly so, as we said. Very tenacious play. Both players hitting some speed bumps in their tournament and recovering well and getting the job done.
Yeah.
Of course, we wanted to thank you all so much for sticking it out with us, for watching all of our live coverage of the 2019 Winter Chess Classic. Once again, be sure to tune in for those events coming up in just a few days. November 22nd is the first day for Tata Steel. And with that in mind, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and also thank you for the entire crew, right?
Yes, thanks to the crew. Ben Simon, Tony Chen, Isaac Strantz.
All of them. And Ben also joined me here for commentary. It was great doing commentary with you, Caleb. I hope this will happen again in the future.
It was a pleasure, Sabina.
And and thank you also for the St. Louis Chess Club for organizing this great event, giving everyone
some opportunities to play some competitive chess.
Yeah, American players getting stronger every day, and also, showing the games live for the entire, world to see. It's also amazing, and having us here as well. So thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to tune in November 22nd for Tata Steel India.
Bye, everyone.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.